Good day, listeners. This is Ryan.
And this is Kyle.
And you are listening to
The Doctor's Watcher, the Imposters podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
Awesome. Well, one thing that is immediately clear to me on our Discord video chat is that you are not an imposter because you are wearing a very cool Doctor Who t-shirt.
Thank you. I am indeed either not an imposter or a very diligent imposter of a Doctor Who watcher.
Yes, I guess that is one of the options. Either way, very good job imposting, if that is the case.
Nice.
So how's it going, Kyle?
It's been going pretty well. I actually was... So this episode, or this recording session that we're having now, was originally meant to take place last week, but I had to reschedule it because my partner and I took a class last Saturday that was like sort of a like first responder, like CPR first aid type class, which is kind of interesting. It'd been like years and years and years since either of us had done any of that. So it was a nice refresher. One thing that was kind of cool was that our instructor was telling us about how, like, you know, all the guidelines and everything and like the course materials and whatnot basically get updated. I think he said every 5 years, and that the most recent guidelines had just been approved, like, I think maybe 2 or 3 days before our class.
Oh, wow.
So we were theoretically like among the first people probably in the Western Hemisphere to get like trained on the newest, most up-to-date guidelines, which was kind of neat.
Huh, that is pretty cool. Yeah, like I remember when I first learned like CPR back in Boy Scouts, you were meant to do like chest compressions and breaths. But if I recall correctly, now you're not, I think that you don't focus on the rescue breathing at all, because at least from what I could be wrong, but I think the chest compressions are already kind of like squishing the lungs, you know, up and down. And so like you're only doing chest compressions in like a CPR type situation, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think that was the case for a while, but they've actually gone back on that again now.
Oh, so, really? They added rescue breathing back in. Interesting.
Yeah, current guidelines, if it's like a full CPR situation, then it's like 30 chest compressions to 2 rescue breaths. And then
only.
Just like alternate 30 to 32.
Okay. So that's still like, I feel like there was quite a bit more rescue breathing way back in the day.
I think so. Yeah. I think, when I was in like Boy Scouts in the 90s and whatever, I feel like there was a lot more rescue breathing than just 2.
Yeah. Like I want to say like 4 or 8 breaths or something in like that range.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's good to know.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. They also, gave us like a bunch of supplies, like first aid kit type supplies that you can like have on hand pretty much all the time, just like in a plastic baggie or whatever. Got like,
nice.
Bandages and, children's aspirin and whatnot. But he also gave us like, individual like Narcan doses and
nice.
Yeah, stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. The one drawback was the actual presenter or instructor himself it's a guy that we know and didn't really like him that much. He's just kind of like an annoying type of guy. I guess he's been, he started working as an EMT in like the 1970s and has been involved in one way or another pretty much ever since then. So like, ton of experience, very knowledgeable, but also is the kind of person who like can't have a thought enter his brain without it also coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And like tons of experience also means like tons of stories he wants to tell.
Which sometimes that's fun, but after a while, it's not.
Yeah, I think overall it ended up being probably about like 3 hours or so of material crammed into like a 6 or 7 hour class.
Jeez.
Of course, that also includes like starting about an hour late and having like an hour and a half lunch break when he told us it would be an hour lunch break and that sort of thing as well. So,
well, that part sounds pretty annoying, but it is definitely good to like refresh your safety CPR knowledge from time to time. Sure. Well, that's cool. Very good reason to, delay recording for like a week, because who knows when that might come in handy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's, all the kind of stuff that was like, I hope I never actually need to know any of this, but I should know it anyway.
Right, exactly. It's better to have the knowledge and not need it than to need it and not have it.
Right. What about you? Have you been up to anything interesting?
Yeah, a couple things. I referred to this last episode, but I have definitely been off to the races with Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Nice.
Very, very good series. Just like you said, like it's like for such a simple, like almost goofy concept, it is very, very entertaining.
Right on. Yeah, I'm on my library's wait list for the 6th book, and I've been waiting for like, I think over a week now. And if it doesn't come in soon, I'm just going to fucking go buy it myself.
Yeah. I haven't signed up for the library yet locally here in Georgia. I need to. So I've just bought copies of the first 2. I'm still in book 2. But they're pretty cool looking hardcovers, actually.
Yeah, they really are.
The covers are very like red and black and yellow and very exciting. A dude running around in his boxers with a very pretty cat beside him. But yeah, super entertaining. I really like their... I forget the title of his position in the first book, but in book 2, this character called Mordecai becomes their kind of manager, almost like an agent, without spoiling too much of what that means or how it happened or anything. But some of the stuff Mordecai has gotten up to has been hilarious.
Yeah, he's a great character.
Yeah. So that's been fun. We said it before, but highly recommend it again. But also, we went kind of recently to the Georgia Pride festivities in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yep. It is apparently the biggest free pride in the country.
Oh, cool.
Which kind of makes me wonder, like, are there bigger prides that aren't free? I don't know. But they make that specification, so I assume that there are larger prides, but you have to pay. But yeah, it was cool. Like, I went there with my partner, and we were watching the parade for a while. I just, it was very fun. I kind of wanted to see my works float because they did a float.
Oh, cool.
I could have probably joined them on the float, but I don't want some little kid to go to Pride and see all these businesses with floats and think that capitalism will ever save them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So like, I can't advocate that because that is false, but I did kind of still want to see it.
Yeah.
So like, we watched the parade for quite some time, probably like 75 minutes or something. And it just kept going and going. And I didn't see the work float. And then, my friend, which we've discussed before on the show, Nate Dogg, showed up. And so we hung out with him. So we like left the parade, went into the park where all the, festivities were kind of at, and he was hungry. So we got some food and like sat down on the grass and ate the food and like chatted and hung out a bit for probably an hour or more. And then we were like, man, wait, I still hear the parade going on the street. And so we walked back over to the street and it was still going strong.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it was perfect timing because like probably 3 or 4 minutes after we'd walked up to the street again, my works float went by right then.
Nice.
And yeah, it was kind of funny. It was like, your standard, like, it said the name of my work all over the float, and they were blasting some music or other, and some empty ass slogan like I don't even know what it was. It was dumb, like "Together we will rise" or some shit. That's like, yeah, okay, well, that's means nothing without context, but whatever. And like the people on it, I felt bad for them because they were dancing around to the music and like trying to look chipper and happy, but they'd been on that float in the sun for a few hours and you could tell.
Yeah, that would kind of suck.
It looked like it really sucked. So that was fun. But yes, to continue the Nate Dogg saga, which we started on a previous episode.
Wanted to ask about that. It sounds like our hashtag free Nate Dogg campaign took off.
It did. It did. And because of that, he is out of jail. But yeah, when we saw him at Pride, he had a very cool, very gangsta-esque ankle bracelet for tracking his location. But apparently what happened was he's from Chattanooga, Tennessee originally, and there's this woman there that he was involved with at some point, and it's one of those things where like it's clear to everybody but the person that the relationship is utterly toxic.
Oh, sure.
And the way he puts it, like she's just really, really pretty, and he has a hard time getting past that or whatever. But she's also like, again, we do not have her perspective on any of this. So
right.
Disclaimer there. But his perspective is that she is apparently bipolar, and she was having one of her like bad times or whatever. And she called the Tennessee police to say that he had abused her, which of course he is thoroughly disclaiming and saying did not happen.
Right.
But they don't fuck around. Like they immediately, I guess, to the credit of the cops, if any should be placed, they immediately believed her and immediately put out an arrest warrant for him. And his dumb ass had been talking to her on the phone or texting or whatever, and he told her that he was going to the concert with us, so she knew where he would be that night. And she told the cops where he was, and they told the Georgia cops where he was.
Wow.
And that's how they knew to come snap him up, which, like, I guarantee there are far worse crimes happening in Georgia, probably like 200 yards from where we were, because there were like,
oh, sure, some
crack looking type stuff happening in that part of town even. But I guess they were so bored that they came and got him.
Wow.
They put him in the, what is it? I think Fulton County is Atlanta, Fulton County Jail. and he was in there for a few days, and then they like extradited his ass to the Chattanooga jail. And there was all this stuff that happened where they were kind of dicking him around and like not, like he really shouldn't have spent that much time in jail over it.
Mm-hmm.
But like a bunch of scheduling shit happened and they kind of dicked him over and like let him rot in there for a while. And like finally, he got out of jail in Chattanooga, and he and his lawyer contacted this lady, and they were like, look, you know, you could really fucking ruin his life with this. Do you still want to press charges? And she's like, well, no. So the three of them went to the courthouse to like, because, you know, obviously it's her that has to say, you know, drop these charges.
Right.
Which she had agreed to do. Like, she's like, yeah, you know, I don't want any of this to happen. So they went to the courthouse. His rotten luck, apparently there's some like, whatever, meeting of the judges type thing in Tennessee once a year. And they all go to some, you know, city to meet. And usually they leave one judge behind for, you know, shit that has to happen still. The justice system moves along. But they did not do that. So there were no judges there for her to say, like, let's drop this. So they couldn't. Like, he had to go home to Atlanta. So pretty much, yeah, he's has to keep his nose clean for 6 months, according to the lawyer. And if nothing bad happens, pretty much the charges will be dropped. But for like, I think 45-ish or maybe 60 days, he had to have the ankle bracelet on so that they could track his location. And he's not supposed to really leave the Atlanta area, or at least the state of Georgia, but I think he was supposed to stay around Atlanta. So yeah, he's okay. Like, his work was reacted as well as you could expect. You know, they were like,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, like they were like pretty much innocent until proven guilty. So you have not been proven guilty yet. Therefore, you still have a job. But if you do get convicted on this, say goodbye to your cushy job. So yeah, I mean, hopefully he can keep his nose clean for 6 months, which does not seem like it would be that difficult, but I don't know, man. He probably can, but
yeah,
hopefully.
Right
so,
on. Well,
anyway, yeah.
Glad that seems okay for now, at least.
Yes. For now, Nate Dogg is free and happy again.
Nice.
And it was nice catching up with him at Pride, and he actually invited us out tonight to some day after Halloween like concert thing, which looked cool, but I don't know. I'm old and just not really feeling it, so I don't think we're gonna see him tonight.
Right on. Cool. Yeah. Did you have a joke for us before we get into the episode?
Oh, yes, I do. Why don't policemen play hide and seek?
Because they can't find shit?
Good answer, but no. And no one would miss them, so no one would go looking for them.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that makes sense. Nice. Well, speaking of looking for missing people, let's talk about episode 4 of The Faceless Ones.
Indeed. That is the Cliff Dangler, or the main one.
The 34th episode of season 4, and yeah, our Cliff Dangler is everyone on this airplane is missing.
If I was on an airplane and everyone but me and my partner went missing, that would be incredible. I would not investigate that. I would just be like, let's go.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be a really nice flight, actually.
Yeah, totally.
So we actually start the episode not on the airplane, but back in the Chameleon Tours office, where the doctor is unconscious on the ground. Apparently, this like back pain, possible heat device rendered him unconscious.
Oh, dang.
So Jamie's trying to wake him up. Captain Spencer tells Jamie that he's dead and like tries to take Jamie away, but Jamie refuses to leave the doctor. Samantha shows up just then, and the distraction of Samantha showing up gives Jamie a chance to attack Spencer. You know, he like jumps on him and whatever, but Spencer manages to hit both Jamie and Samantha with a beam from the pen-like paralyzation device. So the two of them fall to the ground. Spencer positions their bodies and the doctor's body all in a row on the floor, and then he sets up this laser beam that starts out pointing like several feet away from them on the floor, but is like slowly moving closer to them.
Okay, very James Bond villain-esque.
Yeah, so he sets up this laser beam and then just leaves. And the three of them are all on the floor. They're actually all still conscious. Like, I guess maybe not the doctor, unless he's kind of regaining consciousness. But they are still paralyzed. But, you know, they're able to, like, kind of talk to each other. They can, like, move their eyes enough to see what the setup is, at least. And the laser beam, as it slowly inches closer towards them, ignites a little pile of sawdust on the floor. And the doctor's like, yep, that's going to be what happens to us if we don't, like, get this shit figured out. So, you know, they're all basically still just laying there until Samantha realizes that the paralyzation is starting to wear off a little bit and she can kind of move one arm. But as she has this realization, we cut up to the airplane where Captain Blade first just like refuses to give Crossland any information about where they're going or what they're doing, what's going to happen or anything. He places a call on the radio to inform the director that he's delivering an original for him as ordered. And then we cut down to the airport medical center where the nurse lady is in the process of transforming another reptilian alien into another airport employee. This time, she's turning this alien into the immigration desk worker Jenkins.
Oh.
The doctor asks Samantha if she's got a mirror in her purse. And she says that she does. She's able to move her hands and arms enough to get the mirror out of her purse. It's, you know, like a little makeup compact mirror. And she carefully passes it over to Jamie. She has to be real careful because, of course, they're all still somewhat paralyzed. And, like, if she drops it, probably they're just fucked. But she manages to get it passed over to Jamie. His paralysis is also starting to wear off a little bit. And he's able to basically, like, reach the mirror up above his head. They're all still, like, on their backs on the floor. So he reaches the mirror up above his head, kind of just, like, in the path of where the laser beam is going to be going in a moment.
Nice.
And he holds it there. There's not like a way to prop it up or anything. He just has to hold it. And sure enough, the laser beam hits it, and he's able to reflect the laser beam back into the laser beam projector, which explodes.
Awesome. I think that would work with lasers.
Yeah, I feel like it would, as long as the laser is strong enough to like burn the projector correctly or whatever.
Yeah,
which seems like this one is.
If it didn't like burn the mirror, whatever that stuff is on the back of the mirror that reflects,
right?
Silvering or whatever. Curious about that, but okay, cool.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. Basically, as soon as the laser beam projector explodes, that's kind of like when the paralysis wears off on all three of them.
That's convenient,
I guess, coincidentally.
Right. Plot coincidence.
I guess it's similar to how Captain Spencer's paralysis conveniently wore off, like, as Captain Blade entered the room.
Right.
So they all get up. The doctor thinks that this murder attempt probably means that Chameleon Tour's plans are almost complete. So he says that they need to act fast if they want to save Ben and Polly and Samantha's brother Brian. He suspects that Ben and Polly and Brian are all probably in the same place, but he doesn't really know where that place is until the player playing the doctor reviews all his notes from the recent game sessions and realizes that they never really followed up on the airport medical center lead. He had written down in his notes at some point airport medical center, and then they never looked into that. So he's like, shit, I guess we should probably like check that out.
Nice.
So the doctor asks Samantha to stay back and watch the Chameleon Tours kiosk for Captain Spencer while the doctor and Jamie go to check out the medical center.
But be careful. Don't let him see you.
Me be careful? You two watch out for yourselves. I'll be okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Jamie's really into her.
She's got a lot of courage, that wee lass, Doctor. Yes. I just hope she doesn't try to be too adventurous.
Guess the doctor thinks probably Jamie's like pretty vanilla.
Right. Yep. He doesn't want poor Jamie to get turned off by too much adventure.
So they make it to the airport medical center and head in. Jamie, as they enter, is like moaning and groaning, and he's kind of like doubled over in pain.
How am I doing, Doctor? Very well, but don't overdo it.
The nurse comes in, and the doctor tells her that Jamie has a rare tropical disease, and the doctor is his doctor, and he needs to get Jamie somewhere to lie down. So he starts just like taking Jamie into the x-ray room. He's like, oh, there's some beds in here. But the nurse objects. She won't let him in, and she says that she has somebody coming for an x-ray. So doctor's like, all right, cool, that's fine. Meanwhile, Captain Spencer is talking to the new alien Jenkins. The two of them are watching the medical center scene happen on one of their surveillance camera FaceTime TVs and discussing among the two of them how the doctor is a menace and must be killed, which of course Spencer just tried to do with an overcomplicated James Bond villain scheme, and that obviously failed.
Right. I'm surprised he didn't like kind of wait while the laser crept across the floor and like announce his evil plans or whatever.
Yeah, I guess Blade's probably got the villain monologue in his pocket, so
True, yeah.
Spencer
that's
didn't
right.
really know what to say.
Right. He can't have the villain monologue. He's not smart enough.
So the Doctor and Jamie head back to the air traffic control room, and they learn there that Crossland is missing. You know, Benedict Cumberbatch's mom is like, hey, have you, like, seen Crossland recently or whatever? They also learn that she has been calling all of the places that Chameleon Tours flies to, and it turns out that all of these places say that Chameleon Tours never actually brings any passengers. They just, like, pick up passengers from these places and leave with them, but they never bring anyone.
Interesting.
So the airport commandant is, like, finally starting to get on board with the idea that maybe some underhanded shit is happening at Chameleon. And he basically agrees to have the next Chameleon Tours flight followed.
Like by another plane?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he actually starts, like, calling up the RAF to arrange for them to follow it.
Wow, okay. Huh.
The Doctor, meanwhile, has sent Jamie back to the Chameleon Tours area to check up on Samantha and see how she's doing. And he tells Benedict Cumberbatch's mom that he thinks the airport medical center is somehow involved in all this business. Like, he definitely had it written down in his notes somewhere. But he asks Benedict Cumberbatch's mom if maybe she can get the nurse out of the medical center so he can investigate it properly. Jamie gets back to the Chameleon Tours kiosk, and he finds Samantha, who has bought herself a ticket for the next Chameleon flight, which is going to be to Rome. So Jamie starts telling her about how dangerous it is for her to, like, do this on her own. And she's just like, fuck, I need to do something. I can't just, like, sit around and, you know, wait for everyone else to solve this for me. She doesn't really know if she's going to find her brother in Rome, but she refuses to be talked out of it.
Nice. Respect.
Yeah, totally. Jamie then gets the idea that, like, maybe he should go with her, but he can't afford a ticket. He doesn't have any money. He basically offers to take her place and to go instead of her, but she's like, no, I want this fucking person of action title, so I'm going. So he suddenly, like, basically says goodbye to her and, like, goes in for a kiss, like a surprise kiss. And while he's kissing her, he secretly rolls a sleight of hand and yoinks the ticket out of her purse and, like, sticks it under his shirt.
Oh, dick move, buddy.
Yeah,
what the fuck? Dang.
Hello, Doctor's Watcher listeners. We are your servants. We do not need guns, but we do need your 5-star ratings and reviews. No more than 5 stars to be seen together at any one time. We are ready to teach these human beings the law of the Doctor's Watcher. Back to the show.
Back up in air traffic control, the commandant gets off the phone with RAF. It's all arranged that they're going to follow the next Chameleon Tours flight. And Benedict Cumberbatch's mom faints. So the commandant calls the medical center on the phone and talks the nurse into like coming up to air traffic control to check her out. Nurse doesn't want to go. Like, she's not actually supposed to leave the medical center, but I guess if the airport commandant tells you to, then like you do.
True.
So as soon as the nurse is out of the medical center, the doctor slips in and starts looking around. The DM gives him advantage on the investigation check because, like, it's an empty room now, but even with advantage, he still rolls like pretty low. So he, flips some switches back and forth and doesn't notice the cupboard behind him opening and revealing the actual nurse's comatose body and then closing again.
Like, as controlled by a switch? Is that how that worked?
Yeah.
Okay. That's whoops.
He also completely misses the fact that Alien Jenkins is like in the medical center watching him.
He really must have rolled low.
He takes a few of these like armband control devices that they saw earlier that have like a D-pad and stuff on them, and starts heading out of the medical center just as some random nameless NPC starts to enter. Alien Jenkins had like pulled his ray gun, was about to like shoot the doctor in the back basically, but as this, nameless NPC enters, the doctor's like, oh yeah, this dude will help you, and like motions towards Jenkins, who is like hidden his gun. So maybe he rolled less poorly than he made out to seem.
Perhaps.
The alien nurse is in air traffic control. She's examining Benedict Cumberbatch's mom when the doctor arrives back in air traffic control and kind of like gives Benedict Cumberbatch's mom a thumbs up from behind the alien nurse's back. And then she suddenly feels much better. She basically says that like she hasn't had any breakfast or lunch, and the nurse is like, well, that's probably why you fainted. Like, probably you should eat something. The nurse also like chastises the commandant, telling him that he needs to like make sure his employees have enough time to eat.
Nice. Good looking out, nurse.
Yeah, totally. She leaves, and after she leaves, the doctor basically reveals to the commandant that this was all a setup. Benedict Cumberbatch's mom, of course, was not actually sick or anything. She was acting on the doctor's orders. And he shows the commandant these armband control devices that he got from the medical center. The doctor's like, I think there's a dude here who probably knows what's up with these. And he goes to look for Alien Meadows, the air traffic employee, but Alien Meadows seems to be off duty at the moment, I guess. So he's not here. Doctor's like, all right, well, I guess we'll just have to wait then. Back at the Chameleon Tours kiosk, this flight to Rome is like most of the way through the boarding process. And of course, Samantha can't find her ticket. It's clear in this scene that she's like already talked to the desk attendant about it and is like still looking for it. The attendant's like, hey lady, have you found your ticket yet? Of course she hasn't. So she says that the name on the ticket was S. Briggs, and the desk lady is like, oh, S. Briggs already boarded. It was some dude. And of course, Samantha realizes that Jamie stole the ticket.
I feel like this is putting their ship in dire risk of sinking.
Yeah, it seems like it. Captain Spencer is conveniently watching this happen on, one of his surveillance camera FaceTime TVs, and he calls the desk lady on the phone, and they talk for a minute, and then the desk lady tells Samantha that her ticket has been found, and she just needs to, step into the manager's office to claim it, basically. So she does, as the desk lady starts collecting postcards from everyone boarding the flight. Samantha steps into the back office where Captain Spencer points the ray gun at her. Back up in air traffic control, the doctor watches and listens and everything as the Chameleon Tours flight takes off, and the air traffic control radios the RAF and is like, hey, this is the flight. So the RAF fighter jet starts following it.
How high can fighters go these days, Commandant?
Oh, 10 miles plus.
How futile.
Wow, so they're going beyond that in their high-tech alien planes or something?
Or the doctor thinks they're going to,
at
least.
Wow. Yeah. Huh.
Up on the plane, Jamie does not feel very good.
Yeah, I bet. 10 plus miles up.
So he suddenly gets up and rushes toward the restroom at the back of the plane. I guess maybe there's not a barf bag at his seat. Not really sure. The flight attendant heads up into the flight deck and tells Captain Blade that everything is all set. So he turns a knob, and this time we actually get to see on the surveillance camera FaceTime TV that all of the passengers in the seats of the planes all shrink.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Blade sees the RAF fighter jet following them and presses a few more buttons on his control panel, and this beam of light shoots from Blade's plane to the RAF plane. And then we cut down to air traffic control, where they basically talk about how the RAF plane is acting really strange on the radar now. It seems to have stopped moving. And of course the radar is just it's a two-dimensional radar. It gives them position over, over land or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if a plane that the radar is tracking is not moving on the radar, probably that means it's going straight down.
Right. That's an oh shit.
So yeah, the air traffic control basically watches on the radar as the RAF plane just crashes, presumably, the pilot being unconscious or dead from this beam of light that the Chameleon Tours plane shot at them.
Dang.
As they watch, they notice that the Chameleon Tours flight is also just holding position on the radar. So the commandant thinks that it must be crashing also. But we cut to the plane, and of course it's not crashing. It has pivoted and is now flying straight up.
Jeez.
And the wings have folded in toward the fuselage. And yeah, on the animation, the airplane model is tilted upward and just going up.
Nice. That's a pretty fancy plane.
Uh-huh. It's even fancier because it doesn't seem to have like affected gravity or G-force or anything like on the plane itself. We still have the flight attendant just like walking down the aisle like normal.
Nice.
She's collecting some item from each seat. We don't really get to see what she's collecting, but presumably it's the shrunken bodies of the passengers. She gets interrupted by Captain Blade calling her up to the flight deck to basically complain about some paperwork that she messed up or something like that. And so he complains to her. Then she goes back out to finish the collection job that she's doing. But this interruption happened like when she was at Jamie's seat. And the interruption kind of like caused her to maybe not quite realize that there was no item to collect on Jamie's seat. Like she had got the seat next to him and then got called up to the flight deck and then came back out and like his seat was empty. So she kind of like had a confused look on her face for a moment, but I guess it's just like, well, I guess I got the thing from his seat already because it's empty.
Yeah.
And moves on.
Good thing you had to barf, I guess.
Uh-huh. Back in air traffic control, they are hearing that Air Sea Rescue has not seen any wreckage, which seems like pretty unusual for two aircraft crashing into the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the doctor is like, dude, I don't think the Chameleon Tours flight crashed. And the commandant is like, dude, when a plane appears to not move on the radar for a while, and then it just disappears from the radar, that's because it dropped straight down until it was below the radar. And the doctor's like, unless it went straight up.
Oh, my dear doctor. To get above our radar umbrella like that, it'd have to climb vertically until it was 100 miles high. The darn thing would be in outer space. Exactly.
Huh.
So we cut to an exterior shot of the plane, which is still going straight up and is actually in space. And it's flying up toward this giant, like, cone-shaped satellite. And as we watch, an aperture opens up on the bottom of the satellite, and the plane flies, like, straight up into it, and then kind of, like, levels out and starts flying horizontally again inside of the satellite. And the aperture closes behind it, and the music starts to play, and the words on the screen say Doctor Who Patrick Troughton.
Dang. That was a pretty good kind of, I don't know if you'd really call it twist, but like a pretty good escalation there at the end. Like,
Yeah.
this whole time I thought, maybe they were like they had their base in Germany or like the aliens, or they were doing some fuckery, like maybe taking bodies or flying to different locations on Earth. But yeah, sounds like with their special space planes, they're just going straight to some kind of weird satellite.
Yeah.
Like one thing I was kind of curious about was because like I was picturing them, like, I don't know, I guess 747 style with engines on the wings. But then if the wings folded back, like, did it have like a jet engine of some sort, like on the body also? Or was it just magic alien propulsion once the wings had folded down?
I'm pretty sure it was just kind of like magic alien technology propulsion, because it was like the plane itself looked like a, you know, basic standard 747 style plane.
Nice.
So yeah, I think it was just like alien technology propulsion.
Well, yeah, this is cool. I mean, there have definitely been some blunders, like using an Earth laser. You know, that was a bit of a misstep, but every time they use their alien tools, like that goes pretty well. Like, was it Spencer like zapped 2 people at once with the freeze pen thing? And
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and like immediately overcoming the RAF with their light beam weapon.
I think probably Blade is right that Spencer is kind of dumb though, like because of this whole laser beam setup. Like,
yes.
Just like kill them with it. Don't do like a whole setup, just like zap them.
Right.
Also, I didn't mention this, but like the way he arranges their bodies on the ground and the way the laser beam is pointing, like it's actually only going to kill Samantha. Like the beam is coming towards Samantha and it's going to like hit her in the head and like split her body lengthwise. And the doctor and Jamie are like on her left side and right side. And like, if the laser just goes in a straight line, which is all we see it do, it's not going to touch Jamie or the doctor at all. It's just going to like burn Samantha in half.
Jeez. Right. Like, and not trying to bag on Samantha or anything, because she really is earning her person of action status. But amongst that group, she is definitely one of the LVPs. You know, aim for the fucking doctor. Like, clearly he's been the one that's a step ahead.
Yeah, like, but he's the one that your actual assignment is to kill.
Right. And, you know, don't just start the laser and assume it will get to them. Point the laser first at them, and then start the laser. Like,
or like, if you start the laser and it hits the floor like 4 feet away from them, adjust its position.
Right.
Don't just
minor
like
adjustment.
Wait for it to like slowly adjust its own position. You can just like move it.
Right. Program it to chop them all in half, doctor first.
You
know, 2 seconds of thought would solve that whole problem.
So yeah, I think I'm on Blade's point of view in the whole Blade Spencer situation.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, Blade does make some stupid choices as well, but Spencer really seems... Is it good or bad to be behind the 8 ball? Whichever the bad one is, either he is or he isn't behind the 8 ball. The bad one, that's what he is.
Yeah, totally.
Well, nice. So with this escalation, I wonder if we're going to see like the inside of this mysterious alien satellite, or, you know, the doctor and everyone else seem to be stuck down on the ground. Only Jamie is up in space.
Right, yeah.
So I wonder if the rest of the crew will end up out there, or what's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be cool if we do get to see the inside, because, yeah, like all we saw was like the exterior shot of the plane flying into it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. The satellite itself was like, you know, pretty cool design. I obviously don't really know how the design of the satellite in the animation compares to the design of the satellite in the original, or like how they did that in the original version. There were, you know, parts of this that I was definitely like, oh, I'd kind of want to actually watch the real episode itself if it existed. But
yeah, like, is it a little model of a plane that like floats up and then kind of like turns on a little wire that you can't see and like floats into whatever the model of the satellite or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, that's very entertaining. Yeah, I'm rooting for Samantha. I'm still mad at Jamie for like ganking her ticket. I mean, who knows what she would have done in that situation? Probably, maybe she would have just gotten shrunk, because presumably she wouldn't have a case of the barfs or the trots or whatever his issue was. Like, was it implying that he was still like feeling bad from touching that disc thing, or he just like had a little upset tummy?
The implication that I took was motion sickness, basically. So, yeah, had to go barf from just like from the plane moving around or whatever.
Yeah, I guess probably it's his first time even on a plane, which then, of course, turned out to be a vertical flying space plane. So that probably would be pretty disorienting.
Although it's occurring to me now, I guess whatever technology they have in place that makes it so turning completely vertical and flying straight up doesn't affect G-force or gravity or whatever.
Right.
I guess maybe they don't turn that on until they're going to fly straight up, because I would imagine it would, if they have it on the whole flight, it would just take care of any motion sickness whatsoever.
Yeah, true. Maybe it was that little split second while it was like warming up and kicking in that it really got to him. Well, nice. That was a good episode. I guess we're going to have to wait 2 weeks to find out what happens next, but that's going to be one long 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. Like, we've just had a whole series of 4-episode serials, and then suddenly this one is apparently longer.
Yeah, but it almost, I mean, you can't really say it's a bottle episode, but it almost, for a minute, was starting to feel like a bottle series where like the whole thing would just stay inside the airport and like on the tarmac and whatever the whole time. But suddenly we're in space.
Yeah. I actually read on the wiki or whatever that I guess this story was originally pitched as like taking place at a shopping center, I think. But, I guess the producer wasn't really into that and like asked them to change the setting. And so they moved it to an airport. But yeah, it really has been like a bottle serial.
Yeah. I'm just trying to picture like what they would have done in a shopping center. Like there's no maybe tour buses or something and like a little storefront
really sure
or I don't know
what they'd be doing, but
yeah, interesting.
It does seem like airport and airplane probably was a better location for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. Thanks for describing this excellent episode to me, Kyle.
For sure. And thanks for listening to the description.
Anytime. Any further notes on this one?
Nope, I don't think I had anything else on this.
Cool. Well, listeners, next time you or your friends are going on a plane, just keep in mind that if it starts going straight up, you're probably already fucked. Or, run to the bathroom, but you might already be fucked.
Yeah, if it's going straight up, you probably already got shrunk, so...
Yeah, true. Well, cool. Just the, standard reminder, like, subscribe, 5 stars, tell everyone you know on every possible communication medium that you have access to, which in this day and age, there's probably like 50 of those. link this podcast whenever you leave a Pornhub comment. Which, as a quick side note, like, people that leave Pornhub comments, that's very weird. Like, what do you expect to happen? I don't know.
Is there
it's
like
strange.
a community of Pornhub commenters that?
Yeah, right. Anyway, I guess I don't really want to know the answer to that, but probably it's yes.
Yeah, probably.
If there is a community there, then they definitely need to know about the Doctor's Watcher.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what better podcast to listen to in between goon sessions?
Right. Or during goon sessions. I mean, I don't know, our voices are pretty smooth. It'll probably enhance the experience.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, cool. All right. Well, on that note, I guess we will goon you later, listeners. Bye.
How do you feel now?
Not too good.
I can't understand it. She's never done this on me before.
Thank you, nurse. I feel much better now.
Well, there couldn't have been much wrong then.
Have you had any lunch?
No, I've been so busy today, I haven't even had any breakfast.
Then no wonder you didn't feel well. Really, Commandant. You must see that your staff have time for regular meals.
I've never stopped her having her lunch.
I'm sure, Commandant. But it has been known to happen.
Now, look here, Jenny.
Very well done.
That give you enough time.
Ample time.
What is all this? You weren't ill at all, were you?
It's all right, Commandant. She was acting on my instructions.
Oh, your instructions.
Yes.